in play, Jack Egan. I cannot seem to hear Kat, but I'm going to try to bring her in. Let's see here. Kat, are you on? Can you hear me? And I can see you, but I cannot hear you. So we obviously are having some technical difficulty. I'm toggling all the options here.
Me now?
Oh, there you are.
Here I am.
We're starting out this episode really special.
We are. It's like so like on point. So us. It's totally together.
I just want to say, like, my backdrop is up. You know.
Oh, I see it. It's fancy.
I got my backdrop up, which last time actually was an issue, kind of, but this time I'm all set up on time. But then Jeff, for those of you, okay, let me catch you guys up. If you're now tuning into us live, what you don't know is that Jeff Messer is joining us. He was actually supposed to be joining us right away, but for whatever reason, the app system that we're currently using to stream and create lower thirds and all these glorious graphics around you, which I know are not that really impressive. But the point is, he can't log in. He was stuck at a comic book shop, got the link. He's supposed to just click and boom, it works. And it doesn't work apparently from where he's at. So he is rushing home to join us any moment. Yeah. But this is Breakdown episode number, I don't know. That's something I should have started with if I didn't know what it was. But I am your host, Jack Egan. I'm not really a host, though. I'm a co-host standing in until Kat takes over, which happens when I set it up to her. And this is your host, Catherine Marie. I'm going to turn it over to her until Jeff jumps in here.
Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great week from the last time we saw everybody. I finally got in my House of X comic. I have not read it, though, because I've been a little under the weather. So about 8:30 p.m., I'm sleeping. So that's the thing that's happening. But I hope everybody else is well and is looking forward to actually today Power of X released. So
yes.
I know. Where did you go? Jack?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can. You kind of dipped out there.
Oh, weird. I think I know what's going on. It's just going to take a moment for all of it to work itself out.
Okay. This has been a great Wednesday. It's very creative, getting juices flowing. There it is. Woo! I knew you could do it.
Yeah, no, I know it's because I've got a camera right now that doesn't exist. Jeff's non-existent camera is a problem. But it's all right. I fixed it. I deleted it. So, yes, let me just do this little number.
Yay, look at you.
I'm drinking my beer, by the way.
Nice.
Tonight's beer is brought to you by Wicked Weed.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Let's see here. We got The Pernicious. If you're not a fan, you must hate good beer.
I have not tried that one.
Oh, Pernicious is that, and their Lieutenant Dank, I think it's called.
Yeah, really that one's good. Yeah. That one's
good. Yeah, so I picked it up and I tried to get as many copies as I could.
Yeah,
but
I love that cover.
Because this bad boy came out today, a lot of places weren't really trying to part with like a bunch of copies to one guy. So we're gonna bulk up our supply over the next couple of days. But we are giving away the issue number 1, and we have a couple issues here today that we can give away right now. We can wait. I know that one thing we are gonna say. All right, how about this? I'm gonna say one copy. And someone make a note of this. One copy we're going to give away to one of the people that shares this video, because this video will still be up even after it's not live. And if you share it, you're automatically entered into winning a copy of Powers of X.
You need to put a little what is it called? Little footer that says hosts and co-hosts are not eligible, because I'm going to share in this, but I'm not eligible.
I'm not putting that in. Because if I do it,
I could win too.
Well, because if I put it in, that creates a precedent, right? And if a precedent could get very dangerous depending on what kind of prizes we get. I might want I mean, these are all living in my office right now, and I think I've mentioned before, they're all under threat. I might take one of these at any point because they're all right. So let's circle back around here real quick. There are all sorts of other comics, posters, memorabilia.
Let me do my interpretation of Vanna White. Like they are.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, I love it, Vanna. I'm doing my slow turn for you. Yes.
Yes.
Da, da, da. Anyway, something you may notice, right? As I don't think I've shown this particular prize yet. For instance, I am trying to make a point that every episode I'm going to keep showing you guys new prizes because that's how many prizes we have.
Yeah.
And I got to get rid of them. So there's a bunch of like random comics. But for instance, I know that this Ion #1. And we're trying to give you guys mostly #1 issues, key issues, signed issues, or something fun just to read to start that you maybe have never tried. So like with Ion, this particular run is something I wasn't super familiar with, but we reached out to some of the people that we knew in our crew and stuff, and they had some interesting things to say, and we were able to get the first, it's like 7 or 10 of these in a row, boom, in a run to give away. So that's something we're not going to just give you one random dollar comic we picked up at the local garage sale. So that's how you get this stuff.
That's exciting.
Participate and answer trivia questions. I think we're gonna return to our last attempt with trivia, and I want you to do it again. We can let Jeff chime in on this, but I would love to hear a new segment called Cat's Trivia, Cat's Impossible Trivia.
My impossible trivia, like it's a little so. I caught a lot of flack from like regular people that I know because I'm like, I don't think that's difficult. And they were like, how are you going to ask these impossible questions? I'm like, you have Google right in the palm of your hand.
I will say that those who are willing to cheat, yeah, Google's available. If you have no soul or conscience.
It's more of a how, for me, it's more of a how clever are you? Like, obviously try to figure it out on your own. But if last ditch resort, I mean, Google is a great place to be.
I'm actually adding to our ticker, which apparently is something I can do. It should work.
That sounds fancy.
Let's see here. I'm just going to try to add in there that they can share the video. So yeah, it didn't work. So everything in here is like brand new, guys. We are going to keep probably having problems for a little while where we like Jeff having to change location to get a hold of us. Oh, look, there it is. Whoa, we changed something.
That's fancy.
Yeah, so the idea is that we'll keep testing these things until we can bring you a better show, which may also be on our part. We may need to improve. I need to improve. You're fine, actually. Let's be honest. You're the professional. I stay behind the camera. For those of you who don't know, I am not usually on camera. I'm just trying to be a good sport. To circle back here, actually, one of the things that I thought was really fascinating. So we're not going to give you spoilers.
Yeah. No.
I'll give you this as a spoiler. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Ooh.
Oh dear God. And then all of this is just tempting us of what is to come.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, House of X, I think I would say, I'll just give you another quick example. Is my internet gone? What's happening?
You're frozen on camera, but I can still hear you.
Oh, check this out. Hold on.
Oh, it's me.
Boom.
Yay.
And nothing. A green screen.
A green screen.
All right. I will attempt
This
to
is
fix
where
this.
Jack's voice is coming from, everybody, right here.
That's hopefully me eventually.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your own again. How about that?
Oh, yay. I'm used to being on my own, but now that I've got friends, it's like, no, I want my friends hanging out with me.
That sucks. It's just been so finicky tonight. I wonder, there's a storm coming in.
Oh, that's probably. It's been gray out here all day today, so we're probably getting the same storm at the same time. Usually it moves, but
this is a bummer because what I was actually going to show everybody is these kick ass variants. There are these. I know I've heard people actually complain about that. There's too many variants. That everybody's kind of like, why are there 15 variants?
Yeah.
I understand when there's 2 and 3, but come on. And I get that, but I also kind of feel like, some of these are awesome, and having a few variants is so cool. And these hint to other things, and I wish I could show them. So one of them is a classic. It's Gambit and Rogue in an embrace on the cover for House of X. That one's like obviously a throwback to other things. I am trying to figure out if I can bring up an image. My camera's just dead. It just seems to be.
Your awesomeness has messed up your camera. Well, everyone, while we wait for Jack, which I can't hear him. I don't know if he's talking, so hopefully he can hear me. But while we wait for Jack, like he said earlier, Jeff is on his way. We were trying to do an on location kind of thing. I see you now. I see you. Can you hear me? Yes.
Finally. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, all right. The technology is not our friend today.
Yeah. Today it's making us work for it.
It can't even do anything. It just froze up. Maybe it's because I changed the ticker. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm asking too much of it. But yeah, let me see if I'm just going to throw up some variants here real quick while I'm still here. Still with you guys.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about.
I actually like that.
If you're a Gambit and Rogue fan, this is a solid buy, I think.
Yeah.
And it's very, it's a throwback kind of thing, but the number of variants is kind of crazy. And I kind of had to take some time. Let's see here. We've got a couple options here. This is sort of the go-to.
I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, that's Powers, right?
Yes.
But let's see now. Of course, the internet is being a little weird, but I really want to try to share this with you guys because this one I'm pretty excited about. And I'm going to do it digitally because it seems to be the quickest way to grab it. But it's an interesting debate because on one hand, you have a problem with the shops. Shops are saying, like, if you send us 56 or whatever variant covers, think about that in terms of shelf space for them to put up. Do they list them all in front of each other, like next to each other, and lose 7 slots for what's essentially one comic book?
Yeah.
Or do they? And check this out. Let's see if it'll pop up here. I wanted to go a little clearer. I don't know why that image is so crappy, but
I need that cover.
Yeah, that's if it's just crappy resolution, you can't tell who it is. That would be Storm in many forms.
Yes, if you can't tell who it is with the crappy resolution, like shame on you.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't picked it up, I would. It's pretty awesome. I have some suspicions. I don't know. Somebody obviously in our chat wants to pop in. Who's this character exactly? Do you know?
No,
so
I'm not familiar with that one.
Her name seems to be, I'm totally blanking on it now. But so check out her clothes. I had a suspicion when I was looking at her clothes and the fact that she's all silver.
Yeah.
She just sort of reminded me of Colossus, and I immediately started thinking, okay, is this Colossus's like sister or something? The name seems to be Rasputin. So. And I'd love to pretend I was an expert on this comic. I did sit down and read this issue, but it was like a skim because it's just been a really, really busy day. There's a bunch of characters popping up in this, though. And if you haven't checked this out, I was just going to ask you, have you seen these?
No.
So these are reprints. And
I was going to say.
Yeah, no, I don't own X-Men #1.
I was like, wait a
we're
second.
giving this away. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. No,
sign me up.
But these are really cool. So there are these new reprints that they have done for all sorts of stuff. If there's some famous comic you can think of that you're like, I'll never afford that, they probably now have these facsimiles. I'm trying to remember there's a term they're using for these. like facility type reprint copies, but it has every single ad, every word, every line that was printed in the original thing that they're reprinting.
Cool.
And in this case, it's X-Men #1. So I bought it because then I have one, sort of. I thought I saw something blip up there. I was like, is Jeff here to save me? So that's, I mean, in all honesty, that's kind of the breakdown of the powers of X. I'd hate to it's so awkward. I want to tell you guys all about it, but I don't want to give anything away. There's a lot more action. There's a lot more sort of Game of Thrones moments where someone's, talking to somebody else and you're not expecting them to be really on the same side or whatever. And there's sort of this, we're trading something off. And if you do this for me and haha, and you're someone's going to get betrayed,
I can't wait to read it. I obviously will get it about 3 days from now, but I'm excited to read it. So.
Yeah. I'm checking in with Jeff.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all can't do it? This is your job. I don't want to be on camera.
So while we have a little moment, you want to hear a little San Diego Comic-Con joke?
Okay.
So they announced a Transformers Ghostbusters crossover months before it happened. And I was like, oh, totally. I want that. I have a lot of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive stuff. So I was like, I totally want that. So I Googled it and it's a GameStop exclusive. So I pre-ordered it and this is it. And unfortunately, this is not the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, people. This is a whole different other.
I'm going to go full screen for you here. Let's see this thing.
So it's Ecto-1 and it transforms into a Transformer.
That's kind of awesome.
It is. It's still cool. It's still great. But when I got it, I was like, it looks smaller than it does in the picture. And the guy was like, well, most things look smaller in real life than they do in the picture.
And I think of a couple jokes.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, they were said. They were the jokes. I already know what you're thinking, and that's exactly what was said in the store. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. So I re-Googled it, and underneath this one is the real San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which I missed out on. So that's great. So that's my little Transformers, Ghostbusters. When you want an exclusive, make sure you Google the right thing, because you'll end up with second best.
The more you know, kids.
For real, really. That was so. I was like, this doesn't look right. It's not quite there. So yeah.
So I'm just picking a random time because I've been mostly jabbering on. Jeff he's close. He's like, I'm close, but I'm like, well, I want to move on because I want to give people a chance to win. So if you are currently tuned in, or I always remind people that probably the first 24 hours or so that a video is up, there's still a chance to win things. We have more than one copy of things. We got plenty of stuff to give away. So if you got an idea, I would guess, even if it's not live. But more importantly, I'm amazed how many people messaged us and was like, oh, I thought the answer was blank, but I didn't want to guess and be wrong. And I was like, that was right. But you're actually right. I had multiple people about your last question. If you guys will revisit real quick, hold on. The last question, last time, your first question that was the very first ever Impossible Questions by Matt Cat. What was it exactly? Tell us the question.
And the first question was, what year did blanking roll out? Because I put it somewhere else and now I don't know where it is because I have a lot of little.
It was what year something
did Hickman get his what was the name of the copy? And this is what happened.
So impossible. I don't
even know what it is anymore. So,
Hickman, by the way, for those of you who don't know why she looks this up, here's a message. More you know. Hickman's the guy who's taken over. So he's done a bunch of other stuff, but if you don't know, they shut down all the random X-Men stories. And in Hickman said, I have 2 sort of parallel stories I'm going to do. One comes out one week, one comes out the next. There's only I always forget if it's 6 or 5, but there's only 6, right?
There's
so it's 12 total.
Each, and, 12, and they all intertwine.
Yeah, and so Hickman's like in charge of X-Men right, at least right now. And what you had mentioned that he's done Captain America, right? He's done a bunch of other stuff that he's Fantastic Four that he's pretty well known for. This isn't his first go around.
It's not. He's done the Manhattan Project. He worked on Secret Wars.
That's right, Secret Wars.
Let's see. Oh, the most recent one was I think this was the second question, which was what year did he write Secret Wars?
Okay. So anyway, so these are tough. Years? What year? Do you know years? What's your favorite comic, Kat? I'm just gonna throw this out here.
Oh my Jesus.
Pick a name, pick one, just one favorite. You're like, know all about it.
So the Rogue, Aurora comic run, which basically tells about Storm's like life basically. I really love those.
What year did the first one come out?
So let's see, 2005.
So I'm making a point, right?
Gee, let me find out.
So follow-up question was, we were looking for something a little simpler, and the follow-up question was who played Storm in the first X-Men film, which the answer is Halle Berry.
Correct.
I am amazed how many people sent us messages or emails or whatever, and they're like, I thought it was Halle Berry, but I didn't want to say that. I didn't see that one, but I remember people talking about Halle Berry, and I'm like,
yes, because she has like the worst line in movie history.
And well, everyone talks about the same line. I assume, are we talking about the frog line?
Yes, so dumb and anticlimactic. I was like, what is this?
People hate on that line.
I hate it so. Like, there was a collective like horror moan in the theater when we heard it. I was like, oh, what is that? Like, why? But I mean, if people want another easy one, I do have another easy one. What's Rogue's first name? Her real first name.
Oh, I see. I like that one. That's a good one. I was just checking out here. I'll probably throw it up in a moment. Some Rogue imagery. But if you're not aware, and while you're thinking or Googling, and ask the question again, just so everyone, I don't want anyone to pretend they don't know what's up.
I know you guys got this in the comic book universe. You guys got this. Rogue. What is her real first name? And spoiler, it's not Rogue. just a little hint for you guys.
Just help you out. Don't send us those messages.
Yeah, don't. It's not Rogue.
Yeah. I will say that, you know what? Let's try a screen share. We'll get really, really fancy.
We'll get fancy.
Look at that. It kind of works. But so this is the Halle Berry we're talking about here, right? Mm-hmm. It's go back to something that we were talking about earlier. These comics are awesome. Halle Berry and X-Men, not so much. I don't want to talk crap about Halle Berry.
No, I mean, she's good, but like she's getting these.
At the time, I was like, Halle Berry, that's awesome, yeah. And then the movie came out, and you're like,
it's kind of like the Catwoman thing. It's like Halle Berry, great, Catwoman, and Halle Berry, not so much. Like that.
I feel like that was a low blow. Halle, wherever you are, I have your back.
Oh, I mean.
That was like, don't bring that up. That's like talking to Ryan Reynolds about Green Lantern. You know, like, don't do that to him. He knows. She knows.
Oh, of course, they know. But it's like it happened. We try to move on, but every now and again,
take it back.
Yeah, you have to be reminded because you don't want history to repeat itself. You just want to be like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Let's not do that again.
Fair enough.
So.
I will say that we got some good things from the first X-Men movie. We don't have to talk about all the bad things.
No.
You know, it was interesting to see Darth Maul as a Toad. You don't know that that's what was happening. That's what you were seeing. And
that was.
If you missed the cameo where he spins the staff, that's your fault. But you know, Storm's one of those people that I think we're all waiting for Storm's legit feature show, whatever she gets.
She's out there. It's happening. She's probably still in acting school. Hasn't gotten her big break yet. We'll get it.
Well, wasn't the and of course this is just speculation, but what's the point of the show? What do we do on the show? We talk about comic books and comic book related stuff. That's it, guys. The breakdowns aren't complex. We are gonna have guests. I'm very excited about a bunch of the guests we're lining up. Just throwing this back out there. If you don't know, we're going to have some of the Marvel Netflix show actors and stuff like that coming up on the show, and other artists. But going back to Storm, yeah, because she deserves it. Storm, I was going to see if I could find it, but the actress who played Storm in Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse.
Yes. She's supposed to.
Yeah, and there was like a debate. I can't find it, but there was a debate about... they wanted her to first appear in the next Black Panther movie, and the actors made some comment about, she was like, I don't want my Storm's next thing to be like reliant on a love interest story. Storm deserves her own project. And I agree. If that's what she said, I don't know. Again, no.
Yeah, that's what's being thrown out there in the rumor mill, is that she did state that she wants Storm to be who Storm is, which is a very strong, confident, woman, and have that kind of storyline. She doesn't want it to be the first go around where it's like, oh, Storm's in love, kind of cliche thing. So
and Storm's just one of those characters that, like, it never occurred to me as a child. It's the X-Men, but especially on the animated series, everybody loves Storm. Storm is a character, and it never occurred. I guess what I mean when I say it didn't occur to us then is it's like we didn't have this like, a strong female lead that that all the barriers that she breaks, it didn't even occur to us. That show is so good about that. Like where she was from, her story with the Shadow King and all of that, and how it plays out. And if you don't know about Storm, I don't know what's wrong with you, but go out and read.
Educate yourself.
Because there's a lot of fascinating stuff with specifically Storm and the Shadow King and how she came to be, and she is very much a strong female lead that doesn't take any guff. She's not relying on. There's not some petty, like, she's not endlessly powerful. I'm not crapping on.
No, she's not. No.
She's not endlessly powerful. She has like a phobia. She has fears, but it doesn't stop her. She's still like the leader of the X-Men on multiple occasions. She's the one in charge. I have a weak spot for Storm for a whole other reason. I don't know if you know about this. I'm going to geek out.
Do tell.
We're talking about comics, so I'm going to geek out for a second. Storm actually has a really cool side story involving why basically she and Wolverine are meant to be. That they have a relationship. Are you familiar with this storyline?
So it's been a while since I've heard it, but I actually have an image saved of her and Wolverine like embraced. So yeah.
There is, so if you aren't familiar with it, there's a storyline involving Bishop. And if you don't know who Bishop is, I don't know, go read some X-Men comics. It's just awesome. We're clearly X-Men fans around here. So Bishop, who's a time traveler and awesome, basically he messes with the world. And as we see time in different variables and different versions, one of the versions we discover is actually where it's like the 1950s. There's still segregation. There's still like, it's very odd how, but there's segregation, but there's focus on mutants specifically. Also, it's weird. And Storm and Wolverine are together. They're romantically involved, but they're like the last leaders of the revolution against everything. And he defends her. They go into like a bar, and like somebody wants them out. First they think it's because they're mutants, and then he realizes it's because they're a mixed race couple, and they basically give it all up. It's so Romeo and Juliet. They hold each other, and they're going to fix the future. They're going to save everybody else. But in the process, they're going to lose this relationship and know that in the other timeline, they're not really together. And it just kind of, that's it. And that's how it's an amazing storyline. If you don't know it, go find it, go read it, go watch it. I don't know if this cartoon show went over it, but it's one of those things that I always like. I love this show. So it's like, it's kind of a win-win. I think I've discovered
that image, because I discovered the image first, and then I found out that it was a storyline. So I was like, oh, what is this? And then I was like, oh, it's a whole story. Okay. Yeah. And so I like it. I dig it. I dig it better than Black Panther. I'm not a Black Panther fan.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting.
Even before the movie, I was never like a big Black Panther fan. Like, I liked the movies. The movies were good.
Movies good.
But
I will say, in terms of the comics, they're not my favorite. They're not something that I like ran out to read. His appearances were more of a big deal than to me. Were more of a big deal than his own runs. Like, I haven't really read his personal just runs. It kind of came from an era that I usually avoided anyway. Frankly, it's sort of an exploitation era.
Oh,
it's part of the jungle action comics or whatever at first. Not picking that up right away.
Yeah, no. I actually have their wedding and a couple of issues after their wedding, just because I like Storm, but not so much because I was a fan of their wedding. I was really pissed. Like, I was like, let's boycott this. Like, how do we when the priest says if anybody objects, how do I stand up? Like, how does this happen? Like me over here. But I was never a big Black Panther fan from the jump. Gotcha. A lot of people are shocked, and I'm like, why? Why are you shocked? But to me, I just can't get into him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's funny the characters you gravitate towards, and so again, back around. If you don't know, where's this logo? This guy, Issues With, brought to you by the Elite Foundation, which is a really kick-ass company. If you don't know about them, you can look them up. But they do all sorts of stuff to help all sorts of people in different ways, including investing in shows and producing things like Issues With. Issues With is a private personal conversation with comic book creators, artists, writers, like biggest names in the industry, not like me and her. We're small potatoes. We're doing these big interviews with big people, and that's a show you're going to get to see. But in the meantime, we have the breakdown. So I'm not an expert, okay? I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but one of the things that I've learned, or I feel like I've learned to be true, watching these interviews that we shoot with all these amazing artists and creators, is they talk a lot about how comics are so special in that you gravitate towards certain characters and certain ones for certain reasons, and they usually do really reflect something about you. And it's the oddest things. We've heard people talk about, I remember we did the pilot issue with Afua Richardson. She specifically had talked about, I remember when Ghost Rider 1 came out, and I thought about getting it, but I didn't. And she had this, it just didn't really, I was like, it'll probably be around forever, and it's not going to be a big deal. I had actually gotten it. I'm a Ghost Rider fan. I have a Ghost Rider #1 that I'm like, cherish. And it's like, but it's interesting how, you will agree with someone about a comic over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden they'll name one, and you're like, why? That's so boring and stupid. But they're interesting in that way. They reveal things about people. I think normally when you meet someone who likes a certain comic, it's almost like it's just like a band, or anything else. Oh, you like this sport, but I feel like comics have a weird way of you kind of pick up other things about people,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you have this perception of these characters, and for me, it's always I make the joke that most of my favorite characters have had the worst movies. So I always feel like that's a terrible reflection probably on me. But I love Punisher and Daredevil and Ghost Rider. The worst. I'm not talking now, but
I'm not laughing at you, but I'm kind of laughing at you.
Nicolas Cage. I'm sorry, man, but that Ghost Rider movie is it's awful.
That's something.
It's terrible. So I've not heard from Jeff. I am assuming that he's like, I'll get there, but he's going to tune in on the next one, guys. He's been a little MIA. He was at San Diego Comic-Con. He was up for an Eisner Award. If you haven't watched it already, there's a wrap-up video about that. And just there's a lot going on, obviously. But on the next interview, that's the next breakdown. That's one of the things we'll definitely be going over. Is Jeff will be here, and we'll be able to go more. We have a couple more seconds here. I was going to flash back if you haven't already, and you want a copy of. You know what? I'm going to pull. What are those infomercials? What is it? Remember 2 a.m. That's 2 a.m. with a guy selling knives.
Shut up. My whole family makes fun of me because I'm an infomercial sucker.
But wait, there's
more.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. First of all, what was your trivia question for tonight?
Rogue. What is her real first name?
Rogue. So come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Stay here. Rogue. Well, here. Rogue. The beautiful Rogue. Awesome character. One of my favorites. This relationship actually is one of my favorites. But Rogue's real first name. You just have to put the first name, not all name, not full name.
No, just her first name. No, I just need her first name.
All right, I'm going to hit you guys with this. So, share this video. If you're not aware of it, share the video, and you have a chance to win a copy of the Powers of Pain. Powers of Pain. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to sweeten the deal. And there's more. If you call now, there's no hotline. Don't call anybody.
Oh, don't call.
Tell your mom, say hi, say I love you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to sweeten the deal. I'm going to throw in, and by the way, if you see these red tags, those are there so you guys understand. Those are my copies that we use on the show. We don't even use the copies we're sending you on the show. I don't open them. I keep them crisp and clean, brand new just for you. But I'm going to throw this in. House of X, #1. So you will be getting, these stories are going to, I don't know if they're going to merge. I don't know if they're just going to play off of each other. We don't know yet. But this is #1, 2 copies, 2 #1 issues, House of X and Power of X. If you can tell us the big, look, it's all coming in. Oh, look at it now. So somebody, I'm going to throw this out there. I think you know who you are. You are about to win 2 copies of #1s. That's awesome.
Yes.
See, you love the love. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Rogue is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about what they did to her in the first movie, but we'll save that for another episode. These are good too, guys. Yeah. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Winner. Let's see here. Who's the first person popping up on your screen? I think. I think our first responder is a Miss King. We're gonna double check on this just to make sure we want to be fair. But I believe.
So I have someone who said that they shared, and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
Then, then Cameron.
Yeah.
Cameron is the one that answered.
Making me proud. Making me proud. And you know what? I think I'm going to be totally honest. Again, going back to the cover of her, when I saw this for House of X, I was blown away. This is a random variant I didn't even know existed. So that totally rocked my world, which means there's probably going to be more variants. And I suspect we're going to be following this story along a little bit because it's only going to be happening for a little while.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to this, but that means I will probably keep giving copies of these away so you guys can follow along with us and catch the whole story. That's awesome. So we have 2. I love the comments coming in. That's me.
Yeah.
So we have some winners. We also, by the way, guys, just a reminder, it's not over. That wasn't your only chance to win stuff. You know what I mean? We've got stuff just floating around my office that we're going to keep giving away. And to win at any point, just by doing basically nothing else, just go to our website. If you go to issueswithshow.com, on the first page there, boom, you will see where it says subscribe, punch in your email. And just by being part of our newsletter, all we do is we send you a weekly thing. Right now we're doing it weekly. We may not always do it weekly. We haven't decided. The point is not to harass you, but to send you interesting updates on comics and to tell you about how you can win more free stuff. So go on, subscribe, and just by subscribing, by going to our website and punching in your email, you have a chance to win. We may just randomly hit you up. Just hit you up and go, hey, we're going to give you something for free. We are also understanding you're not a fan of every single comic. We're open. We're going to talk to you and say, we've got signed stuff from DC. We've got signed stuff from Marvel. We've got signed stuff from Image. We've got all this stuff. What are you a fan of? If you can't stand, Batgirl, then maybe you don't want a really kick-ass statue of Batgirl.
Do you like mine?
But maybe you are. And then we're happy to give you that stuff. So we are going to be chiming out here. As always, it's been fun. I want to thank my sponsor who didn't give me anything but made it legal for me to go into my local grocery store and purchase pernicious for beer. I don't keep saying
I'm gonna look for that one because I haven't tried that one. So
it's good. It's the higher gravity. I don't remember what it is, but I do remember it's a higher gravity beer. There's more alcohol.
Oh,
yeah. Again, I'm Jack Egan. I'm the producer of the show Issues With. I'm not supposed to be in front of the camera.
But you are, and we're grateful.
Jeff Messer, our host, couldn't make it. And Kat, again, I feel the need. Let me just throw this out here. Look, we're going to go boom. And
Bam,
Kat,
here I am.
Yeah, tell us who you are.
I am Catherine Marie, aka the High Heeled Gamer, and you've been watching Issues With The Breakdown. I hope you guys have a great week. Get yourself that copy of Power of X, and we'll catch up with you hopefully next week.